August 2012. A man walks out of a federal prison in Pennsylvania. He has just spent 40 months in a cell. He is a convicted felon. Inmate number 09230-014. He conspired to defraud the United States government. The steel doors close behind him. The air is cold. He steps into the free world. There is no parade, no public apology, no redemption arc. But the Internal Revenue Service is waiting. They do not hand him a pardon. They hand him a piece of paper, a bank transfer, $104 million. The largest whistleblower reward in the history of the world, paid by the exact same government that locked him in a cage. This is not a clerical error. This is a transaction, a cold, calculated purchase of the truth. We must go back to the silence of Zurich, Switzerland. The year is 2007. There are no sirens here, no shattered glass, no dramatic shootouts, only the soft hum of central air conditioning, the quiet tapping of expensive keyboards, the smell of old oak and polished leather. This is the headquarters of UBS, the largest wealth management bank on the planet. A fortress built on 3 centuries of absolute banking secrecy. A vault designed to hold the wealth of the world and keep it hidden. Within these walls sits Bradley Birkenfeld. He is not a criminal mastermind. He is not a rogue hacker operating in the shadows. He is a banker, a man in a tailored gray suit, a man who moves money, invisible money. He is a mid-level manager in a system that is fundamentally untouchable. His job is simple. He services the American ultra-rich, the billionaires, the real estate tycoons, the hedge fund managers. These are people who do not want to pay taxes. And UBS provides the perfect black hole. The bank manages roughly $20 billion in assets for American clients. Most of it undeclared, most of it invisible to the IRS. Birkenfeld is the architect of this invisibility. He does not sit in a cubicle. He travels. He flies to Miami, to New York, to Los Angeles. He attends luxury yacht shows, exclusive art auctions, private wine tastings. He moves among the elite. But he does not carry a briefcase with the UBS logo. He does not hand out standard business cards. He operates like an intelligence asset, a ghost in a tailored suit. Let us look at the mechanics. How do you move $10 million across international borders without triggering an alarm? You do not wire it. You do not send an email. You use the tools of a smuggler. Birkenfeld knows the methods. He purchases diamonds in Geneva, flawless, untraceable stones. He takes a tube of toothpaste. He empties it. He stuffs the diamonds inside. He walks through United States Customs, a standard business traveler with standard toiletries. A tube of toothpaste worth millions. No metal detectors go off. No dogs bark. The system is bypassed by something utterly mundane. There are other methods. The numbered accounts. Accounts with no names. Only a sequence of digits. Connected to shell companies in the British Virgin Islands. Trusts in Liechtenstein. Foundations in Panama. Layers upon layers of corporate obfuscation. If a client needs cash in the United States, they do not use a standard ATM. They use credit cards linked to offshore entities. The money flows back into the American economy, clean and untraceable. Birkenfeld facilitates this. He hands over encrypted laptops. He sets up the offshore structures. He meets clients in the lobbies of 5-star hotels. Never at a bank branch, never on paper. The arrogance of the system is absolute. The Swiss banking secrecy laws date back to 1934. It is a criminal offense in Switzerland for a banker to reveal client information. The bank is protected by national law. The executives feel invincible. They look at the American tax authorities with quiet contempt. The IRS is a bureaucratic dinosaur. UBS is a sleek apex predator. They believe they cannot be caught because the evidence simply does not exist. The servers are located in Switzerland. The documents are shredded. The digital footprints are wiped clean. The clients are protected by a wall of legislative steel. And Birkenfeld is comfortable. He makes a high 6-figure salary. Knock, he receives massive bonuses. He drives luxury cars. He is a vital cog in a highly efficient machine. The moral implications do not matter. In this world, morality is not a currency. The only metric is the flow of capital. The system is a closed loop of extreme wealth and zero accountability. But a system is only as secure as its weakest link. A vault with walls of titanium can be opened if someone has the key. The bank focuses all its security on external threats. Firewalls, encrypted servers, legal barriers. They do not anticipate the threat from within. They do not calculate the human element. The subtle shifts in loyalty. The quiet erosion of trust. In 2007, the ground begins to shift. Minor regulatory inquiries start to surface in the United States. The SEC and the Department of Justice are asking questions. Nothing major. Just whispers of offshore tax evasion. UBS management remains calm. They issue internal memos. They tighten compliance protocols on paper. But business continues as usual. They assume the American authorities will hit a dead end. They always do. Birkenfeld, however, is paying attention. He reads the memos. He notices the sudden distancing. For years, he had believed he was inside the fortress. Then slowly, he understood the truth. He was never inside the fortress. He was standing on the outer wall, useful only until the first artillery round landed. That realization is not ideological. It is physical. It tightens the chest. It changes the air in the room. It makes every polite email from management feel like a pre-written obituary. The first betrayal did not come from him. The first betrayal came from the bank. And he looks around his polished oak office. The quiet hum of the air conditioner now feels like a countdown. The loyalty he felt towards UBS evaporates. He begins to copy files. He is not trembling. He cannot afford to tremble. That is the cruel elegance of white-collar betrayal. You are expected to remain calm while your nervous system is on fire. The hand that clicks download must look exactly like the hand that approved a client briefing 5 minutes earlier. A single click of a mouse. A flash drive slipping into a pocket. The sheer absolute isolation of knowing that if he is caught right now, he is entirely alone. He downloads client lists, account balances, internal strategy documents, the names of the wealthiest people in America, the very foundation of the Swiss banking empire. The greatest heist in the history of banking is not carried out with guns or explosives. It is done with a piece of plastic the size of a lighter. He has the data. Now he needs a buyer. He does not go to the media. The media cannot grant him immunity. He goes to the top, the United States Department of Justice, the Internal Revenue Service. He makes the calls quietly from encrypted lines. He arranges meetings in sterile hotel rooms. The meetings are not friendly. There is no camaraderie. He walked into those meetings believing he still had bargaining power. He sits across from federal agents laying out the terms. He wants protection. He wants immunity. In exchange, he offers them the inner workings of the UBS offshore machine. But as the hours drag on, he sees the truth in their faces. They were interested in the bank, not in saving him. He was not a partner. He was evidence with a pulse. The hope that he was buying his salvation flickers and dies right there in the sterile conference room. The prosecutors open the files. The sheer scale of the fraud sits on the table. It is no longer a rumor. It is digital reality. The names are staggering. American oligarchs, real estate magnates, tech billionaires. The prosecutors realize they are holding a nuclear weapon. The Department of Justice begins to move. Slowly at first, then with overwhelming force. They target the executives. The men who felt invincible in their Zurich offices suddenly find themselves unable to travel to the United States. When the DOJ formally moves against UBS, the strategy is surgical. They threaten the core existence of the institution. A criminal indictment against the bank itself is catastrophic. UBS knows this. The arrogance of Zurich evaporates in the face of absolute leverage. February 18th, 2009. The facade shatters. UBS capitulates. The bank enters into a deferred prosecution agreement with the US government. They admit to participating in a conspiracy to defraud the United States. It is a total surrender. UBS agrees to pay $780 million. But the money is the least of it. The true cost is the data. UBS agrees to identify American clients. This is the moment the vault cracks open. The absolute guarantee of Swiss banking secrecy is dead, broken by a mid-level banker trying to save himself. The shockwave hits the financial world. The IRS launches a voluntary disclosure program. Thousands of wealthy Americans rush to surrender their offshore accounts. The offshore tax evasion enforcement programs begin to pull in billions. Over $5.5 billion by the end of 2012. The US government is suddenly swimming in recovered revenue. The system worked. But the prosecutors look at the billions pouring in. Then they look at Bradley Birkenfeld. He is the man who handed them the victory. But he is also a man who participated in the crime. The mood changes. The deal fractures. The prosecutors claim Birkenfeld was not entirely forthcoming about his largest client. The truth becomes secondary. The mechanics of the justice system take over. Birkenfeld is no longer the key witness. He is the target. The trap closes. August 21st, 2009. A federal courtroom in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The air is heavy with air conditioning and legal pretense. Birkenfeld stands before the judge. He expects leniency. He has provided the blueprint. He has dismantled the fortress of Swiss banking secrecy. The judge looks down from the bench. The sentence is delivered. 40 months. In that instant, the logic collapses. Not the legal logic, the human logic. The primitive belief that extraordinary cooperation should buy extraordinary mercy. It does not. Not here. He feels the muscles in his face freeze. The sound of the wooden gavel striking the block is sharp. It is the sound of a man realizing he miscalculated the entire game. The absolute humiliation of a man who thought he held the ultimate leverage only to be absorbed, chewed up, and spat out by the machine. Let us examine the cold mathematics of this justice. UBS, the institution that orchestrated the massive tax evasion scheme, pays a fine. $780 million. A fraction of their annual revenue. No senior Swiss executives go to an American prison. The wealthy American clients, the billionaires who hid their fortunes, are offered amnesty. They pay their back taxes. They return to their yachts and their penthouse suites. The only man who is handcuffed. The only man who is placed in the back of a federal transport vehicle is the man who exposed the entire operation. Bradley Birkenfeld. He becomes the designated scapegoat for a system that refuses to hold itself truly accountable. He is sent to Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania, a federal correctional institution. He trades his tailored Italian wool suits for a standard issue khaki uniform. The fabric is rough. It scratches the skin. He trades the quiet hum of the Zurich headquarters for the constant metallic clang of prison doors. The smell of old oak is replaced by the smell of industrial bleach and institutional food. 40 months. Time moves differently behind razor wire. Birkenfeld sits in his cell. He reads. He waits. He watches the news on a small television in a prison common room. He watches the IRS collect billions of dollars based on his flash drive. But Birkenfeld is not broken. He is a banker. He understands the long game. Before he went to prison, he filed a claim with the IRS Whistleblower Office. Under a 2006 law, an informant who provides actionable intelligence leading to the recovery of unpaid taxes is entitled to a percentage of the total amount collected. Up to 30%. The Department of Justice put him in prison, but the Internal Revenue Service owes him money. It is a paradox built directly into the American legal code. He just has to wait for the bureaucracy to process the math. August 2012. The release. He walks out of the facility. He's 47 years old. His career in banking is permanently destroyed. He carries the permanent label of a convicted felon. But the paperwork is already moving through the labyrinth of the government. The IRS accountants sit in their sterile, fluorescent-lit offices in Washington, D.C. They look at the ledger. They look at the billions recovered directly from the UBS data. They look at the law. There is no loophole for morality. There is no clause that disqualifies a convicted felon if the data was perfectly accurate. And the data was perfect. September 2012. The announcement is made quietly. A transaction is processed. A reward is issued. $104 million. The money arrives after the cage. And that is what makes it monstrous. Had it come first, it would feel like a reward. Coming after prison, it feels more like an invoice paid too late to matter. $104 million. It does not erase the 40 months. It does not wash away the humiliation of the khaki uniform. It leaves a terrifying, unnameable emptiness. A confirmation that his life, his freedom, and his betrayal all had a perfectly calculated market price. Look at this transaction. Look at the absolute cold, hard logic of it. The Department of Justice spends taxpayer money to incarcerate him for 40 months. The Internal Revenue Service spends taxpayer money to make him a centimillionaire upon his release. The left hand punishes the crime. The right hand rewards the betrayal. There is no moral lesson here. Do not look for a hero in this story. Do not look for a villain. They do not exist. There is only leverage. There is only the continuous flow of capital. Bradley Birkenfeld did not act out of a sudden awakening of conscience. He acted out of pure self-preservation. The American justice system did not act out of a noble pursuit of truth. They saw an opportunity to replenish the treasury. In the modern financial world, loyalty is not a virtue. It is a vulnerability. And betrayal is simply a highly profitable asset class.